Hi, I'm Lionel Beukes. You're watching From the Cape with Bass, hosted by Daniel Peterson.
Good day, everybody. Today we're here with great bass player Lionel Beukes. Lionel, can you tell us what your first musical experience was?
Well, first musical experience, yes. I grew up in a musical family. I remember from a little boy, being very young, my mother when we used to visit my grandfather.
Yeah.
That was in Java Street, Greenpoint, number 23 Java Street. We would come up and there would be this man sitting with a banjo on the stoop.
Okay.
And playing his banjo. By the way, he was a black American.
Okay.
He came from the slavery time and eventually he was released from slavery and he
Came to Cape Town.
He was released by his owner and he decided to come to Cape Town.
Wow.
Prior to that, there was work that they used to sell the slaves and back and forth, and he ended up, when he was freed, he ended up in Cape Town. He ended up in Java Street. There's some history on him, also with regard to the Baptist church. There was a Baptist church in number 23 Java Street, and there's a picture in the Argus. I still have that information to this day.
Okay.
From the Argus, how my grandfather was instrumental in getting the Baptist church started at that time.
Wow.
Okay, but there was this old man, my mother's father. They were 5 or 6 sisters, and there he was sitting always when we visited with his banjo and playing his banjo. And I always, being young, of course, it sounded good.
Yeah.
So yes, my grandfather was a musician as such, coming from my mother's side.
Oh.
My father was just a vocalist.
Okay.
Unfortunately, he died at an early age. They got my mother and him got married very early. I think about 18. My mother got married. My mother was 22 years older than me. He was 18.
Okay.
And yes, they got married, but he got tuberculosis. By the time he was 26, he was dead.
Wow.
He died. I don't know what it was at the time, but yes, he died at the treatment. I don't know if he got treatment or anything, but yes, he had passed on. But he was apparently also a vocalist.
Oh.
My mother, of course, played the piano. Okay, being my grandfather being also musical, my mother took up the playing the piano.
Oh.
Yeah, born, so to speak, in a musical family. Okay, I was 5 months, by the way, when my father died.
Wow.
And so I never saw him really. My mother just told me that he had passed on and so on.
Wow. Wow, that's interesting, man. Why did you choose the bass guitar?
Well, the bass guitar. This is going to sound very unusual, but my brother used to be in a band.
Okay.
He's also, you probably see something on YouTube, the guys that he's talking about in the mid-60s onward, the Beatles were famous then, but just prior to that, these guys used to listen to the Shadows, Angry Marvin and these people with Cliff Richard singing 40 Days and all that.
Yeah.
Okay. And my brother was the drummer in this band, Leslie Beukes. There's still a picture on YouTube of you typing the missiles.
Okay.
They had these spaced out names. You would find them there. Guys like the Luna 5, Bernie Brown, who lives in Australia today. All these guys, they were the Jets from Durban. There was the Flames who came afterward from Durban and so on. So yes, my brother and they were in a band. Now, they used to rehearse. In fact, I never mentioned I'm from District 6 originally. So when we visited number 8 Nile Street, I was born. That's where my mother and my father lived there. But we moved, obviously, from there when the change came, when the apartheid thing, and we were all told to move. We were about the first to move from Cape Town.
Wow.
Okay. Nile Street. You know Soul Street?
Yeah.
At Trafalgar Parties, if you go up there, there's Hyde Street, and the first one is Nile Street to the left.
Okay.
We were from number 8 Nile Street, but we were the first to move out of there. But yes, we moved to Athlone area. First, my mother being a widow, she never remarried. But we moved to Rylands for a while. Something very interesting, if I can mention this.
Okay.
Number 5 Merton Road, we moved to. My mother rented there. And yes, there I was living, and I used to hear this music opposite the road. man, eventually I used to sneak in there, sat with these guys, they gave me sample beans, African guys, okay? Colored people were living, Indian people were living, and I'm talking about the Rhineland dance, and then shanties opposite with these African guys. And afterward I discovered who they were. Got their names, and I used to sit there and listen to them. Robert Sitoli, Duke Sitoli's brother. Duke was the bass player. Josh Sitoli, the guitarist. But they used to play this music. And one day we went to my mother and myself were in town there, Botnis, who was in St. Joseph Street at the time.
Okay.
And there we were at Botnis, and these guys were playing on the road. I said, Mom, I know these guys. The Quella kids.
Okay.
That's who it was. Okay, so I used to listen to them also. But we lived there for a while, and then after my mother had applied for a house in a council house, and then we got one in Bridgetown, and that's where we lived. And that's where I continued schooling. In fact, I started schooling at Preshwick Street in Greenpoint. It's just there's a street in Greenpoint called Preshwick Street.
Okay.
There's a school down there. That's where I started school. But then I moved to Bridgetown after now living for a short while in the Rhinelands. There we were in Bridgetown. That's where I basically grew up.
Yeah.
That's where I mentioned my brother first. They used to rehearse. My sons used to rehearse in the room, okay, in the lounge. And when they done it, nice band they were. They got a song. I had a song even out as they went along called "Tears Running Down My Face." Okay. Charles Aneste was he still lives in Ballard to this day. He was from Worcester originally, but he wrote the song. And a nice musician, and I was very impressed with this person. In fact, he was one of my inspirations. Okay. Because I used to admire him. He was standing with his bass, had a maestro bass, electric bass, and he was standing. And now I used to watch them and sit there and listen to their rehearsal. When they leave at night, he had to go. He was still a student teacher at the time. Then they used to go home. They lived in Athlone in Garlandale. Yeah. They go home. He puts his bass under the bed. Okay. The following day, Lionel takes out the bass, okay. Whatever they rehearsed the night before, I don't know what it was, I picked the bass up and I started fiddling. Not even knowing it's a right-handed instrument. I just picked up the bass, I knew it was right-handed, but I just started fiddling, and whatever he played, I played.
From memory?
From memory.
Wow.
Okay. I just got, that's a Beatles sound, 8 days a week or whatever. Eric Clapton, Crosstown Traffic, they used to do beautiful songs. And lovely hits of these guys, Jimi Hendrix and things like that. Nevertheless, I that's what I did, but not conscientiously thinking that I like this instrument. It was just pick it up, play, whatever I heard, I played, and that's how I started playing the bass. Prior to that, just a little story, we had a band in Bridgetown, young guys. We were naughty, we would, Saturday night, we don't know what to do. The guy just runs out and he shouts, "That's a Joel van Haan, in the hat." Okay. Yeah, Joel. And we would go and we would play, and in 2 set, that yard is packed. Wow. And we never used to charge people, it's fun. So we used to charge people, and then the guys got clever and they say, "Hey, with 10 cents per town." Now 10 cents was something in those days, okay? But that was that band. But why I'm telling you or relating this to you is that the thing was, I wasn't playing bass at the time. Drums. Okay, I started out as a drummer, and I would sit behind the drums, and we never had equipment or anything. They would take a little rag, and they're looking for a mic. They had this powder compact mic, we had a little PA, and they would hang the mic with tore the sheet of the bed, and tie the mic for me, and I would sing, and people would enjoy themselves. Wow. But as a drummer, now I used to play on boxes. I used to arrange boxes. We couldn't afford equipment.
So you would
I used to
do
play-
this yard roll thing with those boxes?
With those boxes.
Wow.
And then
So cool.
eventually I played for another band. They were another spaced out name in Maitland, Orbiteers, they were called. And they had the real drums, and I played with them for a while. They used to do all these Beatles hits and Rubber Soul and these stuff, you know, Beatles songs, the Hollies, Jerry and the Pacemakers. That's why I feel that I think I mentioned to you about being born at the right time.
Yeah.
When those songs came out, we were able to play them. As the years went, when Stevie Wonder brought us something, we were able to play it.
Yeah.
You know, Jimi Hendrix, all these guys, we were able to play these songs. Therefore, I feel I was born at the right time.
Wow.
So that's basically the story, and that's how I started with the bass thing. Okay, took the bass, not playing in this other band, and one day, just to finish this off very quickly, a knock came at the door. I used to, what do you call it, bunk?
Okay.
Because I said, but not aware that my mother never used to know and didn't say anything. But I love school. Okay, it's just that I loved the sound of this thing. And without the amplifier, I played the electric bass.
Wow.
Without the amplifier, okay. So a knock came on the door. Now this very Charles Neister, the bass player of the Massans, was a student teacher at our school in Bridgeville. It's still there today.
Bridgeville in Bridgetown?
It's in Bridgetown.
Okay.
I was from Sonneblom Street, number 26 Sonneblom Street, Uriweg, and then 26 Sonneblom Street. It's a Catholic church there on the corner.
Yeah.
Nevertheless, I had the bass over my neck, not knowing. I opened the door. Who's standing at the door? It's Charles Neister.
Wow.
He looked at me and says, wow, do you play the bass? Now, I mean, I was caught red-handedly.
Supposed to be in school?
Yes. I said, yes, play a little. I said, no, I'm just a bit concerned about that. I see you went in school for a day or two. And I never answered because I was now, obviously,
Caught in the act.
Caught in the act and very embarrassed. Okay. But he came in, he was very cool. He said, no, play something for me. He said, no, I can't really play. You know, young boy. I said, can't really play, just try. You know. So he said, just play something that you like. So I played him this little groove there. And that was, at the time it was a soul music. You know, Wilson Pickett and Otis Redding and Sam Cooke and all this. And so I did you know, I've made, you know, like, I'm singing it to you now, but I played something like that, soul music. And I said, wow. He didn't say anything then. When they rehearsed again, he said, if you're of age, I want you to join the band.
Wow.
It actually happened. Okay. After a while, I joined the band, played with him. He's so talented. He went on violin, played the melodica, and he played violin.
Wow.
Yeah, the violin, I said yes.
Yeah.
And the melodica, and he used to sing and all that. Very, very talented. I'm still admiring to this day.
Wow.
He's still alive, as I said to you earlier, and he lives in Belhart.
Wow.
Okay, and that's how I started getting into music. Okay, first gig with him. I had to sing a song, The Flames. It was an old song from Sam Cooke and the people like that. Soul era. It's called Don't Make Your Children Pay. It's about don't make your children pay for your mistakes.
Okay.
And I, in the band, rehearsed it. They wanted me to sing it. Because I'm playing bass and singing. Okay.
Okay.
So they am standing with the electric bass. Going like shivering, you know what I'm saying? There's the audience and you know, it's a wedding we played, I'll never forget, in McCartney. Okay. There we playing, I'm shivering. And then I started singing, but my legs, you know, you could literally see it was shivering. But when I was done, the amazing thing is, people got up and they applauded.
Wow.
I wasn't overconfident after that, but since that day, I've never ever been nervous again.
Wow.
On stage.
Wow. So you faced your fears unknowingly.
Yes.
Wow.
So yes, I joined that band, the Missiles, and that was my first musical experience, semi-professionally.
Okay.
With the Missiles. Okay.
So tell me, why did you choose the bass? I still want to get to that point.
Yes. Okay. The bass. It has this sound. to it. There's a tonal, the ingredient of tone. What it gives, it has this soulful thing, growling sort of thing.
Warm, it's like a warm.
Being electric, but especially the double bass.
Yeah.
And it is an instrument that forms the foundation of an ensemble.
Yeah.
If it is required, a piano player can play alone, and that is the orchestra in my book.
Yeah.
Piano players got all the voicings right. Can write for the strings, they can write for the horns, they can write for. But if you have an ensemble, the bass forms the foundation. A very important part of the foundation of the musical ensemble. And the bass and the drums, if they lock into each other, man, people start, they start grooving, you see? And that is why I love the bass so much. I just thought this is the instrument I want to play. The other reason, or the first reason when I saw Paul McCartney, the Beatles.
Yeah, the Beatle bass.
With the Beatle bass, I even had one.
Wow.
Okay, I even had one, but unfortunately, I lost it. One night. I'm always concerned with taking all the instruments after we rehearse or coming from a gig into where the instruments are supposed to be packed. I leave my bass outside and we drove off.
Wow.
I never saw the bass again,
Wow.
but what a beautiful bass. I did see it years ago, but wouldn't like to relate that story. Not being a sad story or anything, but it's just to protect a friend who actually had it.
Okay.
Who someone sold it to him, but I never said a word. I thought, no man, this is my friend, he's a bass player. I'm not going to say anything.
Wow.
And he played that bass till he died, not knowing what I'm telling you now.
Okay.
Okay. So you see my point?
Okay.
But yes, but Paul McCartney has great influence. Now, when the Beatles, I don't know, I stand to be corrected, when the Beatles started, Paul McCartney played that bass upside down. Because I've got sort of still this good memory, photographic memory, and I remember things. When I saw the video of the Beatles the first time, he was playing upside down. But Paul McCartney, like Jonathan did the same thing, Jonathan Butler. He was playing the instrument upside down, as I feel Paul McCartney was doing, but afterward they changed to the right-handed way.
Okay.
Moral of the story, for myself, I said no. I'm not doing this. I am comfortable, and you'll hear later why. I want to play this instrument just like it is. If a right-handed, yes, there was no left-handed instruments those years.
Yeah.
That was the other reason and there are a few bass players that play like this. Jimmy Haslip of Yellow Jackets, he's one of them.
Yeah.
Jimi Hendrix, also, but on guitar.
Yeah.
He also used to play upside down. So this was a sort of a boost or inspiration to me, gave me a boost to do it, I'm sure I saw Paul McCartney also, but then he changed to the right-handed way. Jonathan Butler played like this also, but he changed to the right-handed way. They're probably more comfortable, but for myself, I felt I wanted to just remain like that.
Yeah.
Say, oh, you're left-handed, so I can't play your bass. I said, no, you can play your bass, you can play the bass, you're right-handed. I said, yeah, play it.
That's interesting. Can you tell me, are you self-taught? Obviously, I heard now.
Yes.
But do you go for lessons afterwards, or
yes,
in a music school?
I'd love to relate that to you. As you heard how I started, didn't know a note of music. But you tell me something, you say to me, that is C major. I say, now what does that consist of? You say to me, it consists of C, E, and G. But that's your first note, your third note, and your fifth note.
Yeah.
So you're saying dum dum dum. Okay, so that's C major, and then they say C major 7. Okay, now where's the 7? All you have to do is count. You say C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. Back on C, but your 7 is the B.
Okay, yeah.
That's how you know it's C major 7 now. Okay, and so these things I used to mull over in my mind, and I try to remember them. Okay, and after a while, yes, I felt it necessary to learn to read music.
Wow.
You know what I did? 1973, I would think 73, going on to 74.
Okay.
Between 72 and 73, I took a part-time course at the UCT
Wow.
of Cape Town because I wanted to learn to read as you can see over there, musical notation, musical notes. I wanted to learn to read. Now you get the treble clef in music and you get the bass clef. Okay. The reason why I went, because I just wanted to learn to read music. Couldn't afford it really. I said to my mother, look, I'm doing a little gig here and there, and whatever mommy can help me with, I will, please. And this is what happened. Okay. I went. You know what I studied? Flute.
Okay.
So I learned to read in the treble clef. I had a beautiful teacher. He was deaf in one ear.
Wow.
Mr. Olsen. Mr. Elson. Short man like that, but what he was a wizard on the flute. And you know, I used to play all the classical pieces and so learning to read, and you know, Fur Elise and not Autumn Leaves, many classical pieces, beautiful classical pieces. Can't remember all the names now, but yes.
So this was a 2-year course that you did there?
I did a course as long as I could.
Okay.
At the time came I couldn't afford it anymore, so I stayed away. Eventually, Mr. Elson came, knock on our door in Bridgetown one day and said, where's your son? He's doing so well. This guy is, you know, in other words, I'm learning fast and I'm doing okay. So the flute is also an instrument that I know how to handle.
Okay.
Okay. So yes, but the reason for doing it, obviously, to learn to read music. Do you know what I did after that? When I read in the treble clef, I could read notes, and I transposed it. Now the bass, you go an octave or a few tones down. You go down, you know, and that's what I did.
Okay.
I transposed. If C is in the third space of the treble clef, then it is in the second space
of your bass.
In the bass. Okay, so just for you to know, I don't want to go into detail, but that's what and then I knew both clefs. So if someone came with music, then you know, a year later, you know, like I started playing. I'd like to mention a few things with regard to that.
No, that's interesting. Can you tell me about the albums that you worked on and the artists that you worked for?
Well,
and if you have your own projects, can you tell me about that too?
Yes. Well, first of all, the music originally that started about around 1974. Now I was married to a lady called Rosalind. My first wife. She died. Rosalind Hartman.
Okay.
My brother-in-law is Sammy Hartman. I don't know if you
know.
Yeah,
I've heard the name.
I mean, a wizard also older now, of course, and I think he's 2 years older than me. But yes, we became friends, and you know, I traveled. Prior to this, it was the band Ozviti. You know, your question was with regard to
albums and
the albums. We started the band Ozviti after as I went along. Started playing in the nightclubs in the 1971. Still in the party era, but we were allowed to play in the nightclubs.
Okay.
So we played there and did that, and after that, as the years went, we formed the band Ozviti. Now Ozviti, people used to ask us, what's the name? Who's this band?
Okay,
Ozviti. Eventually, our Cape Townian speak, the band's name became Ozviti.
Okay.
Ozviti. What's the band's name now? Ozviti. And eventually that became the band's name. Now Ozviti used to perform. Pacific Express was very famous then. Okay, so we used to perform with Pacific Express just before we go back to the album thing. We used to perform with the Pacific Express, and along we go, things like Hampton Farm. There was a farm out somewhere, and we used to play there. Mervyn Africa on piano. Myself on bass. Russell Herman. I don't know if you ever heard the name. He died in London.
No.
Okay, but also a well-known name. Now, then Robbie and Basil Coetzee were, and Willie Nettie was a trombonist. Okay. They were in Pacific Express doing the horn parts. After a while, the two of them wanted to play with us. I think Pacific Express sort of cut down a bit, and they were just playing with the rhythm section. And Robbie and Basil Coetzee, Vandenberg, Basil Coetzee, they joined Ozviti. Okay. And Robbie joined Ozviti, Robbie Jansen, and there we had Ozviti. It wasn't a band that lasted long, but what we did in a short while, yes, the music was very advanced. Okay. So yes, So albums, none as such, but that's when we also went together. We went to Angola together. It was Viti.
Okay.
Kader Khan also passed on. He had joined also, and we played alto and flute. And Robbie and him, of course. Basil didn't go with us. Basil and other things with Dollar Brand.
Okay.
Not Abdullah Ibrahim. Still,
Dollar.
he just changed. He was going to, but it was still Dollar Brand on the albums. But he was going to be converted to Islam. But they were doing things with him. But we were in Angola. Robbie, Kader, yes. No, not Robbie, but Kader. We went to Angola with the drummer and Mervyn Africa and so on. And we worked there, and then we came back home. To cut a long story short, I mean, we can go on forever, but then we came back home, and then Abdullah, he was then Abdullah Ibrahim at the time. He asked the drummer, you can check this out for yourself, the album is called Underground in Africa.
Underground in Africa, okay.
Dollar Brand, Abdullah Ibrahim with Osibiti.
Okay. I'll have to check it out.
He took us in and he said, right, so the drummer, he chose the drummer. Didn't want the drummer to play drums, he says, you're playing tabla. So indication what this guy is also, he was between Indian and also and Arabic. His father, the Arabic side of the mother was Indian. But yes, we did an album, but he only asked for myself, Robbie, and the drummer. I'm not going to mention the name. When you see the album, you know, okay? That's why I'm saying that.
Okay.
So, and there we did Underground in Africa. Deep. I mean, it's deep. When you listen to it,
I have to check it out.
This is deep, you know, but yes, we did an album with him. So that was the first album that I was on, and of course the drummer and Robbie with Abdullah Ibrahim.
Yeah.
After that, we came home in 1974, between 1974 and 76. We did an album with my Rosalind Hartman became my wife. She became Rosalind Beukes. Sammy Hartman became my brother-in-law. We did an album, we wrote songs of our own. This you can will also find on YouTube.
Okay.
It's called Remembering District 6.
Wow.
So we've got District 6, I don't know if you know the name, Monty Weber.
It sounds familiar.
Monty Weber, great drummer with Concert Boulevard and with Ian Smith there at Galaxy those years. They were all, he even formed those bands afterwards. But Monty Weaver was the drummer. He wrote District 6, and it's an instrumental. In between Sammy Hartman and myself, we wrote the rest of the songs, like Ostracism. You know, I think it has a great meaning of separated or apart from society, something like that, in that vein. But he lovely instrumental, and so I wrote, myself and Sammy, we co-wrote all the lyrics and also part the melodies, because when I write a song I also wanted to do the melodies, so we collaborated on that, and so we brought all that together. Strange People, what it's called. That's me singing so high, if you ever hear it, I'm singing like a baby.
I'll have to go check it out now.
Yeah, it's called, and of course Love Songs is the other one, and the last song on there I also wrote, it's called Happy All the Time. And I think the lyrics will tell a story about why should there be sadness in people's lives. Live on and be cheerful, do the things you love. They're lovely lyrics. I want to be happy every day, to sing and dance, make love, make music in each and every way. Music makes my life shine, I'm happy all the time. You know, so
poetic.
And it just came, you know, like this thing just came. Okay. So yes, album Remembering District 6.
I'll sure to check it out.
That's another one. And then in 1975, again with Abdullah Ibrahim, Blues for a Heap King. Now, I stand to be corrected, you can check. I think it's King Maswati III. He was very good friends from Swaziland, Swati. Okay, they were very good friends.
Him and Abdullah.
Yes, yes. Blues for a Heap King was all Abdullah's music, of course. Beautiful songs on there. Now, very interesting. I was privileged, you know, working with Abdullah. In fact, when we went to Angola, Angabon we went to. Abdullah sent for me from there.
Wow.
And then that's when I started working with him, doing concerts in the city hall, going up to Transkei at the time, doing concerts and so forth. You know, but it was great. It was wonderful. I just mentioned something now about the album, the people on the album. Abdullah Ibrahim, of course, Basil could see it, myself.
Yeah.
The rest of the musicians were Americans.
Wow.
Harold Land, if you check, you know, as you like to check these things, you will see Harold Land was a veteran. Buster Cooper was the trombonist.
Okay.
The drummer, Doug Sax. I believe as the years when he recorded Yellow Jackets,
Okay.
he became the engineer
Okay.
for a while with Yellow Jackets. But the last name I'd like to mention, Blue Mitchell.
Blue Mitchell.
You know the song, Asokam?
Mm-hmm.
That very guy was on that same album of Blues for You King.
Wow,
Okay,
wow.
so there's Abdullah, and so I'm on that album also with Abdullah Ibrahim.
So you have a vast array of music recordings out there, so
Already,
people can check it out.
I've got this thing for names. Okay. I never mentioned, you know, prior to that, the hotel circuit, Sammy, my very brother-in-law, we get the contract at Sun City, Entertainment Associates, our agent in Johannesburg. We work at Sun City, the Rockets are there, maybe we're taking over from the Rockets when they leave, that kind of thing. Fisher of a Sun, you go to Swazi Sun. When I traveled, I also got to China. You know, in recent years, from 2004 onward to Dubai, in 2000, and from there onward to China. And so.
Wow.
There's recordings of that also, like at the Hilton in Shanghai, for example. Bands called Three's Company.
Okay.
Which also the name, I've got this thing for names. I gave the band's name is Three's Company. The circuit here, prior early years, the 80s. Hilton came from school benches, Hilton children.
Okay.
And I said to his father, I'm taking your son, can you come with me? Father, no, thank you. You see this talent. You see, this guy's going to go far. Grab him, you know, and we went on the circuit and we played the very Hilton children.
Wow. Can you tell me about the gear that you have?
Okay, it's right behind you.
Okay.
I'm just going to move this so that it looks a bit neater. This is the state-of-the-art amp for our modern times. When I traveled to China, of course, what I said to you earlier, in the 2004 travel and came back eventually. When I came back now in 2019, sent home, not knowing COVID is here. They just sent us home. The word COVID wasn't even mentioned. When I came back, I had the money, cash, and I got me this amp. It's called the Mark Bass. It's a state-of-the-art amp. The top unit is an 800 watt top, and it's a valve job. It's got a tube in it. Okay, so you can switch to tube or you can switch to transistorized. Okay, and if you look at it very closely, like with a camera, you can see it's a beautiful amp. Look at, as you can see, the speakers. Mark Bass, 4 by 10 inch speakers.
So the cab, how big is the cab? The power, is it 1,000 watt or?
You can say it takes you up to 1,000 watt.
Okay.
And it's not for volume. Okay, it's for tonal quality. So you can work it soft and get best tone by the tone controls and so on. Okay, so yes, I'm very happy about the amp. You know.
So you play upright through here?
I play my upright through there. I play my electric bass through there. I play my salsa bass through there. Okay, and I play also my 5-string upright through there. My 5-string upright is a straight stick like this. Okay, it's got the same top, but it's got 5 strings.
You mentioned when we spoke over the phone, and a friend of mine also told me that you've got an Olympic bass.
Yes.
I found this friend, let me just give you a little bit of info. I found this guy and said, hey man, I'm interviewing Lionel Beukes. First thing he says to me, you know that guy's got an Olympic bass? I'm like, how do you know?
He follows what's going on. Probably saw me playing.
Yeah. So he said, no, this guy's got that bass for long.
Yeah,
and
you confirm. Before then. 1979 I bought it.
Wow.
This bass was manufactured, I think, around 75 onward. I got my one in 1979.
Wow. Did you buy it in the States or?
No, I bought it. We were at the time in Gaborone, Botswana, at the Holiday Inn there. And we used to go to the end of the month to town, Tom's Music. Okay. I walk in, I see this bass there. What is it, Limbic? I bought it immediately, as I think I mentioned to you, 2,500 rand. Wow. Pricey today. I saw one the other day, $20,000. Sure. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So it's sentimental value. If someone really, if I feel not a need for it one day and someone wants to buy it, they have to pay a decent amount. I wouldn't expect $20,000.
No,
I
no.
would say that. But I would expect a good, nice amount.
So it's a 4-string.
It's a 4-string,
Okay.
but it's versatile. It can do just about anything. But the other double bass is a 5-string.
Okay.
I felt I wanted the growl like a lion, the other one. I love it. I'm still want to play all these instruments as I go. With all the music I have also, hopefully, God willing, you know.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
This is so beautiful. Do you have any advice for young up-and-coming bass players and musicians out there?
Yes, well, the first thing I'd like to say to any musician, you heard what I mentioned about the beginning, how I started,
Yeah.
is to have the passion, to have the passion for what you want to do. The gift is there, and believe me, it's God-given. Music don't just happen. Yes, you get people who can get their kids to study and they still become good musicians. But if you have a natural knack for it, follow that. That's all I can say. Young and up-and-coming musicians, do what you do, believe in yourself, and keep doing what you're doing. Listen to as many musicians as possible, not with the idea of, you like what you hear, but not with the idea of trying to copy them.
Yeah.
But trying to, through that listening, that it opens your ears up and gives you an idea where you are as a musician, and develop what you have. I'd like to say also, in the same breath, that no one musician is the same. All musicians are different. We've got different personalities as people are. As people, we're all different. So make good use of the gift. If you had to put me behind that camera, I wouldn't know what's going on. And I can say vice versa. Maybe if I have to put you behind it, you wouldn't know.
I play the electric, but I can't play this.
Yes, but anyone can do it. I've got this saying also, if you know how to ride a bicycle, you never forget how, right? The same is with the instrument. Depending on the tuition you get, if the teacher is on the ball, he makes the student play. Why I'm saying that, I've experienced this. When I came back in 2015 from China, I taught at the CMI, the school, right? And I've experienced it. There's some youngsters who came in, they couldn't play well. But with my zest and my love for the music, I see to it that they learn, and they get it. Say, do it slowly. Now you know it, speed it up a bit now. And that's how you learn. And I graduated quite a few of them from CMI. Even 1 or 2 double bass players. The one graduated as a double bass player. Even sold, I went to China back in 2018 and I sold my old bass to him. I still have a photo, you'll see maybe when you look at YouTube, you'll see me standing with that, but it's very high, I'm standing up, you know, and that's the bass I sold to one of my students. He still has it to this day. Yeah, his name is Nathan. Plays well too. You know, started out but improving it. So what I'm saying is, a teacher is important. A good teacher is important because if the teacher has the passion, the student will follow. And I even tell people, I guarantee, you don't know anything when I'm done with you. I'm not trying to put a feather in my cap. I make sure that they learn. So when I'm done with the student, he can play. There's no doubt about it. I'm just going to be doing now soon, hopefully with a friend, his daughter and he himself, they want to learn the double bass. So I use the Ray Brown method. Ray Brown is very nice bass player, so I use that to help him to learn the bass.
People can
excuse me.
Find your details where for lessons. Do you?
Man, as I said, I came back from China now. I'm not really out there teaching, but yes, I could maybe leave a number, you know, but it's not really like, as I said, I've been going through a few things in my life, and I haven't been teaching. The last time I taught was in 2018, from 2015 to 2018. I stayed 3 years at CMI, you know, and then I went back to China for a while and came back. You know. So,
Lionel Beukes, thank you so much for your time. Thank you for making time for me.
Yes.
It's been an honor for me to do this interview. I've learned a lot from you, and I'm so excited actually to be here. Godspeed on your journey, man. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for liking and sharing this video with your fellow bass community. Please follow From the Cape with Bass on Facebook, Instagram and YouTube. Thank you so much.